Howdy. Y'all see the PJs? Y'all see the PJs? Feeling real comfortable right now. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm the newly crowned king of Five Nights at Maggie's. Maybe it's because I just got out of the shower. Since coming off the win I took at the hands of Five Nights at Maggie's, we're not gonna play any horror games today. Instead, we're gonna react to some videos, scary videos, because it is still October. So grab your Cheez-Its, you know what I'm saying? Get in bed, get comfortable, and let's enjoy these videos as a family, as a group, as a collective. Today's video is called 6 Home Alone Horror Stories Animated, uploaded by Mort. I've seen a couple of Mort's videos. They kind of remind me of this one channel. They upload videos similar to Mort's, but today we're gonna watch one of their videos. It's a 6-story video. We're gonna watch Tres. Side question: how do you guys like put up the number 3 on your hands? Cause I do this. My friend was like making fun of me for it, cause I had did this when I said 3, and she was like,
"Why do you put up 3 like that?"
Anyways, we're gonna get into this video.
5 now, and it's something I'll never forget. It still gives me goosebumps to this day. I live in a terraced house, and my neighbors and I have our own little patio. There's a small road 10 meters from my yard where people do their Sunday walks on. Only a small fence separates my small yard and a patio from that road. I live in a pretty crowded area with several of these terraced houses spread around in my neighborhood. So seeing people walking on that road is pretty normal for me. Seeing random people standing on my patio is not. When I was 9, I usually got home from school about an hour before my mom got home from work. I lived maybe 50 meters away from my school, so my mom figured I was mature enough to be home alone. It was only an hour or so before she got home. So this one day, I got home from school.
Wait, is that the 9-year-old?
It was only an hour or so before she got home. So this one day, I got home from school. I did the usual thing, which was to make sure that I locked the front door and double check that the back door leading to the patio was also locked. Then I rushed up to my room upstairs to play as much PlayStation as possible before my mom came home and would make me do my homework. While playing, I heard this noise coming from outside my window. It was kind of like the sound of a cat, but my cat had been missing for over 3 months. A hope sparked within me, and I thought, oh my god, did he finally come back? I ran downstairs to check if it actually was my cat. The sight that met me gives me goosebumps again just writing this. There's a guy standing on my patio, a very tall man with black hair covering half of his eyes, making him look like a male version of the Ring Woman or something.
Let's break down this whole aesthetic right here. Why is his lips black? Does he have on lipstick? And his eyes are red. He's fried. He's actually fried out of his mind, bro.
I could hear him making this high-pitched sound, almost like a cat meowing. A brown liquid was running down from his mouth, and I could see him spitting out my dad's stomped cigarettes. He was actually eating from the ashtray. I was frozen, observing this. Eventually, I snapped out of it and screamed so loud that the man must have heard it. He didn't react, just kept eating from the ashtray outside. I ran upstairs to my room, locked the door, and called my mom, who then promptly called the cops. I've never been more terrified in my life. Laying in my bed, under my sheets, shivering with fear, as I continued to hear these high-pitched noises from that guy, eating cigarette stomps from the ashtray on my patio. Kind of blacked out for a moment, because the next thing I remember is the police arriving on the road by my yard. I hear them talking to the guy, saying stuff like, "Sir, what are you doing? Get over here or we will come down and arrest you," and so on. The man did not respond, but the high-pitched sounds was more frequent and got louder and louder. I then decided to look through the window, feeling safe that the cops were there now. I could see 2 police officers standing by my fence, one man and a woman. I no longer saw the creepy man, however, because he was standing directly 1 story under me and out of my field of view. The police jumped the fence, and I remember hearing that creepy man screaming louder than I'd ever heard anything before. He charged at the female officer with full force, and he knocked her out cold.
Oh my god.
The male officer then immediately tased the guy, leaving him shaking on the ground, still screaming. The policeman struggled.
Who does he look like, bro? Okay, I ain't gonna lie, I got distracted. I forgot what I was doing. The freak.
He charged at the female officer with full force, and he knocked her out cold. The male officer then immediately tased the guy, leaving him shaking
He
on the
did not
ground,
tase him.
still screaming. The policeman struggled to keep him on the ground while putting handcuffs on him, but eventually he did. After a little while, he managed to wake up the female police officer, who seemed to be badly hurt. He called for backup in an ambulance, and then he sees me standing in the window above him. The expression on my face must have been something else, because he just looked at me and said, "I sure hope you didn't see all that." Then I started to cry. By this time, neighbors started to arrive, wondering what the hell was going on. One of my neighbors, an elderly woman, made me come down. She took care of me until my mom came back home. The police then took the creepy guy with them in their car and left.
Who was that?
But they promised they'd come back and talk to us about what had all happened. This is where my story takes an unexpected turn. The male police officer came back later that night and sat down with me and my mom to talk. He explained that the guy on my patio was actually diagnosed with severe autism. He had escaped from a facility where mentally challenged people lived. It was located around 5 kilometers where we lived. He explained that that guy had actually been living in my house 5 years ago, but then he'd been forced to move when his mom and his only caretaker died. Poor guy probably thought he was going to find his mom in my house. He missed the routines, and he missed living there with his mom. The police had to move him from the house that time 5 years ago because he was extremely strong, and this was the reason he reacted the way he did when the police came that day. Still frightened, I told the police officer that they needed to make sure that this would never happen again.
Right.
And he promised me that it wouldn't. After a few sleepless nights, my life kind of went back to normal, and the years went by and that man didn't come back. That was until 1 year ago. At this time, my mom and dad had moved out. I bought that house from them, and I'm still living there today. I was enjoying my morning coffee on the patio when I see this random guy stopping on the road by my fence. He just stood there, staring at me. I look at him and give him a nod, and then I hear it. Those same high-pitched noises. Holy... It's him. His hair had turned gray, but the high-pitched sounds made me realize who it was. My heart started racing, and I instantly remembered the reason why he was back. I realized that he must have managed to escape again, but because I kept my cool a bit longer than when I was 9, I started to realize how sorry I actually felt for the guy. 16 years later, and he was back to look for his mom. I decided to carefully ask him if he wanted to come down to the patio. He instantly jumped the fence. I started to think maybe he would knock me out like he did to that one police officer.
Are you stupid?
I decided to carefully ask him if he wanted to come down to the patio. He instantly jumped the fence. I started to think maybe he would knock me out like he did to that one police officer. He didn't. He just smiled. He looked at me
That's not a smile.
and smiled.
That's not a smile.
I offered for him to sit down, and he didn't respond. I offered for him to come inside, and he just started laughing.
All of a sudden,
So
his
we ended
teeth
up
are
going
straight and white.
inside. His face lit up, pure joy. He was home. It reminded him of the life he had with his mother. It actually almost made me tear
Oh,
up.
he finna kill you.
All of a sudden, he sat down on my
He
couch,
finna kill you.
turned on my TV, and switched directly to the cartoons. I sat and observed him for a while. He was just completely focused on them. I wanted him to just enjoy the moment, so I didn't say anything. I realized I had to call that facility and let them know what was going on. The caretakers arrived 10 minutes later. After a lot of convincing, he got back up, crying, and went back to the facility. I called the facility 2 days later, and we made a deal. His name is Tom, and I now consider Tom my friend. Every Sunday from the day he returned, Tom and his caretakers visit me to watch cartoons. They tell me it's the highlight of his week. It makes my heart warm. Now, for several years, my thoughts were, let's not meet guy on my patio eating from the ashtray. Now my thoughts are, let's meet every Sunday to watch cartoons with my friend, Tom.
I don't trust you. I still don't trust you. Oh, that's it? Oh, that was the end. W ending. I ain't gonna lie, I did not. I didn't think these stories ever had happy endings.
I was 14 years old, and it was just an average night, and it was around 9 p.m. Myself and my little cousin are at his house,
Dude, he was like a doll.
sitting for the night while my mom and aunt are shopping, and my dad and uncle are at the movie theater. As we're sitting there, I started to feel really strange, like something was wrong, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So we just kept watching TV. That same feeling wasn't going away though, so I got up and walked to the back door to lock it. And when I came back through the kitchen, I saw what was causing my weird feeling.
Ooh.
In the window, there's this very decrepit and homeless looking man, just staring at us. Protective mode turned on immediately, and I pretended like I didn't see that guy, and told my little cousin that we needed to go upstairs, because our parents would be home soon, and they wouldn't want him staying up so late.
WB cousin.
We went upstairs, and I put him to bed, knowing damn well that there was a man outside, and I think that he wanted in. I was about 125 pounds and 5'8" at the time. I played.
Nah. See what I would have did. What you doing hanging outside my window looking at my cousin, man? Huh? That's just the type of person I am. Like the type of individual God made me out to be. But hey,
football for my school. If I remember correctly, I went downstairs and straight into the kitchen and grabbed one of those meat tenderizing hammers. Turned back to the window, only he now wasn't there. I ran back to the front door and made sure that it was locked. Both the deadbolt and the knob were, and I ran back upstairs with the meat tenderizer. I went into my cousin's room and sat down in front of the door.
The meat tenderizer?
He asked me what I was doing, and I told him not to worry about it and just to keep his head low. I called the cops, and then my dad and uncle. The cops were at least 30 minutes out, and my dad and uncle were 45 minutes. Then I heard it, a window shatter, and the sound of heavy boots walking around on our main floor. Quietly told my cousin to stay calm and hide under the covers and keep silent. I could hear that man walking around downstairs. It was horrifying. I gripped that damn meat tenderizer and just waited. Maybe 5 minutes or so pass.
Oh my goodness.
And then I hear the boots walking up the stairs.
Oh.
At this point, I was having a freaking heart attack. My cousin's door is no more than 10 feet from those stairs. I heard him opening up the door to my aunt and uncle's room, then the bathroom. He walked back downstairs, and I heard him open the door to the basement. 15 minutes later, the police showed up and burst into the house. It turned out that the guy was loose from a mental hospital 1 province away. I nearly had to battle a mental case when I was 14, and at one point, I was no more than a wooden door and 10 feet away from him.
No way that's the end. Oh my, that's how it ends? Last story, guys, last story.
My parents started leaving me and my sisters home alone when I was around 13 or 14.
Okay.
Of course, the rule was to not let anyone we didn't know into the house. One night, there was a knock at the door. I went to the door and tried to look out, but I couldn't see anything. I couldn't pretend that we weren't there because the lights and the TV were both on. I opened the front door a crack, thinking that the person would be behind the screen door, but that wasn't the case. There was a man in his late 20s or early 30s just standing in our doorway. I shut the door quickly and told him to get behind the screen door. He obliged, and I cracked the door. Yes, I wasn't very smart, and latched the screen door. He told me a story about his vehicle breaking down the road and needed to use a phone. I said that I couldn't see his car, and he indicated that it was further down the road. Then I asked him why he walked past 2 houses right next door, and then walked to the one with no car in the driveway. And I could see that he was becoming agitated. Here's a general recollection of that conversation. Look, are you gonna let me use the phone or not? No, my dad is sleeping, and I can't let you go into his room to use the phone. Okay, just bring the phone here, and I'll use it then. I'm not letting you in the house. Just bring the phone to the door. It won't reach. Please leave. Okay. I shut the door and lock it. And while my sister and I are talking about how scary that was, the side door handle begins to jiggle.
Oh, no.
The same man knocked and says, "Hey, will it reach this door?" At this point, I tell him to go to the neighbor's house and use their phone. And he starts to yell, "I bet your dad's not even home. Let me in. I want to talk to him." Told him, fine, I'll go get him. Then I went to my dad's room, got his shotgun, came out and racked it and said, "Here, meet my dad." The same man started cursing and calling me names, but he did leave.
Oh, yeah.
At least that's what I thought. He actually had gone around to another door and tried that one. Our dog, who was outside at the time, began barking at him. He proceeded to do something that made my dog yelp and cry out. I screamed out that I was calling the police, and he finally left. I felt really stupid for the entire interaction. I don't know if he was just a guy who needed a phone, but that whole experience was very creepy, and I was obviously ill-prepared for dealing with it at such a young age.
You're not serious, bro. Anyways, that'll be all for today. Since today was kind of boring, no shade to Morty. He makes amazing videos. A little bit boring, you know what I mean? A little bit flat. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys. And with all that being said, see you in the next one.